welcome to my channel. The real shadow stories I hope you all find. So let's start. The real horror story name of this story is The Spectral Sanctuary, a tale of the Midnight Hotel. The mysterious The Midnight Hotel was located deep within a forested valley, away from the prying eyes of the outside world. Its intimidating exterior loomed like a sentinel of the afterlife, and its ominous reputation went well beyond its barren setting. Mr. Horace Blackwood, the mysterious owner, was a gaunt, lifeless man with sunken eyes that seemed to pierce the very souls of anybody who dared to enter his gloomy establishment. With an uncomfortable grin and a whispered assurance of a unique experience, he greeted visitors. The Midnight Hotel was home to a number of tortured ghosts who were chained to the building by a curse that defied time itself. They consist of the Lady in White, a jilted bride's ghost who roams the great ballroom in her bridal dress and lets forth agonized sobs that reverberate throughout the night. Samuel O'Donnell, a former visitor who had been rendered insane by a malignant force, and whose ghostly form now prowled the deepest recesses, whispering madness to anybody who came into contact with him. The twins, Charlotte and Edward, who tragically perished on the great staircase of the hotel. Before disclosing their evil intentions, they were known to pose as happy youngsters for the benefit of the guests. The guests that had unintentionally stayed at the Midnight Hotel included Sarah and Mark Anderson, a young couple who would never forget their honeymoon. The Midnight Hotel's evil spirits were closing in on the guests in the dead of night, that fateful night when a terrible conclusion hit them. The only way to end the curse that bound the hotel and its spectral occupants was to learn the hotel's darkest secret, the tragic incident that had caused the curse centuries earlier. The diary revealed a shocking fact. Mr. Blackwood, a man obsessed with immortality, has formed a frightening agreement with a demonic creature in exchange for limitless power and life. He had sacrificed innocent souls, including those of the Lady in White, Samuel O'Donnell, and the twins, to seal the contract. Over the years, the terrible spirits of the Midnight Hotel had tormented and claimed countless souls, and their own anguish had grown. They sought vengeance on the man who had condemned them to this miserable existence, Horace Blackwood himself. He had sacrificed innocent lives, including his own, to seal the contract. They sought vengeance on the man who had condemned them to this miserable existence, Horace Blackwood himself. The spirits united under the brave leadership of Sarah and Mark, and engaged Horace Blackwood in a tense confrontation. In a terrifying showdown that blurred the lines between life and death, they exposed his soul to the angered spirits he had wronged to disclose the truth of his malice. With a resounding scream and a brilliant burst of awful energy, Horace Blackwood was consumed by the curse he had created. He vanished completely, severing the link between the Midnight Hotel and the real world. His physical form vanished into oblivion. The spirits came together to face Horace under the leadership of Sarah and Mark's bravery. The Midnight Hotel fell into ruin as daylight broke over the barren valley, its evil presence banished for all time. The spirits slipped into the hereafter, their restless souls at last at peace. Dr. Elizabeth Monroe, Michael Fitzgerald, Sarah, and Mark came out of the ruins scarred by their nightmare experience. Although the curse was lifted, they will always be troubled by their experiences in the Midnight Hotel. The barren valley was illuminated by the morning sun after being enveloped in fog and darkness earlier. The Midnight Hotel's curse was no longer active, but its gruesome tales would endure as a sobering warning of the evil that lingered in men's hearts and the secrets that could never be fully understood. A skeptic and famous paranormal investigator who had come to disprove the lore surrounding the hotel. Michael Fitzgerald, a well-known author looking for ideas for his upcoming horror book. The Midnight Hotel showed its true self when night fell. Doors began to creak open on their own. Voices resounded down the hallways, and the spectral occupants became more agitated. The evil spirits were personally experienced by Sarah and Mark Anderson, who were captivated to the hotel's sinister attraction, while vindictive Samuel O'Donnell relentlessly pursued Mark. The lady in white called to Sarah Dwyer. Elizabeth Monroe started a risky inquiry that would take her right into the center of the curse's darkness, because she was determined to show that the hotel's paranormal claims were nothing more than urban legends. As the evil forces of the Midnight Hotel threatened to devour Michael Fitzgerald's soul, the writer was imprisoned in a nightmare environment from which he could not escape. The ghostly occupants of the hotel became more powerful, and their intentions more evil as the night dragged on. If they were to escape the Midnight Hotel's grasp and live until daylight, Sarah and Mark, Elizabeth and Michael would have to face their worst fears and solve the mystery of the establishment. The fight for survival had started in the center of that foggy valley, where time and dread were entwined. This fight was against evil spirits and a cursed hotel that yearned for the souls of the living.